and this is the particular site area that is shown on my on the documentation. What this map does, this is an interesting one. Again, this is the sort of thing that I find invaluable. Is I actually, in this particular instance, I plotted out every piece of earth that was owned, that wasn't available, but could be partially developed, and who owned it. So which developers owned it, and what they paid for it, and what was available, and the rest was housing. And I actually owned the Hatch site here, and this is the site I bought for $950,000 and sold for $3 million. So what I'm suggesting is that by knowing all this information, I was able to then convince the valuers to say that that property is worth, well, they put it at $2.7 million from memory. Actually, that's probably in here, at $2.7 million. Whereas I ended up selling the property for $3 million. I paid for 2 valuations on that property. The reason I paid for 2 valuations, nope, it's not in that one. Actually, here it is. It's in this other folder. So I've got 3 folders for that same deal. This is one deal for a block of land. Yeah. Would you consider that that's a lot of work, and people would go, no, I don't want to do that sort of work? Well, I'm telling you right now, I would do this work every single day of the week if I'm buying properties for $3 million, sorry, for $950,000, and I'm selling them for $3 million every single day of the week. Here's the 2 valuations that were done for that particular project. Here's one that was done for multi-unit site located in Moore Street, Trinity Beach, and yeah, that's Tuggerburn, that's one, and the other one was Ackvale Collins Eels was the other valuation that was done on that property. Okay, so I've just got the invoices. One cost me, this is where it gets interesting, guys. One cost me, where's the invoice for this one? This one cost me $1,932.50 for that valuation. $1,932.50 for that valuation, yeah, on this particular property. And they gave me a lot of evidence. I submitted all my information. That kit, not that kit because that's for a different project, but a kit just like that I submitted for that project to both the valuers to satisfy what I knew about the area. This particular valuation came back at $2.2 million. You may be able to see that there. I'm not sure, you might be able to pick it up. It says $2.2 million. Yeah, that's what that one came back at. So I wasn't happy with that one. So what I did was, I ended up putting some more information forward to another valuer because I knew that I could, the other valuer had a better understanding of this particular area. Even though he was from outside that area, all the evidence I had actually was justifiable for that, whereas the original valuer wasn't taking into account some transactions that had just happened. Those transactions that had just happened, what they'd done was they'd actually created a sale of property that was high-end property, but they, in part of that sale, they traded a unit with it. So what it meant was, instead of them buying, for argument's sake, buying a parcel of land for $3 million and putting a square metre rate on that, and I've got all the figures in here, but putting a square metre rate on that, what they did was they gave them $2 million, for argument's sake, or 1.5, I think it might have been, $1.5 million and 3 apartments overlooking the water. So when you add the value of the apartments into the raw cost of this, it actually did still bring it back up to what was required, which was over $3 million. But on the transfer documentation that was kept for it, that the Department of Lands and Mines got for that, didn't show obviously $3 million because it only showed the $1.5 million because that was the single transaction for it. So they downgraded my valuation based off that. What I did though was I actually then went to the other valuer and I put the information forward, justified it again and showed them what could be done, and then they came back with a valuation that was 2.7 million. I'm just looking to see where it might be here. 2.6 million. 2.6 million they gave me there. They gave me a verbal of 2.7 and then they gave me 2.6. So I paid $4,400 for that. Now, a lot of people would go, well, I've just paid $1,900 for that. You've only paid $950 for it, so $50,000, $950,000 for the site. What's the point of actually paying for another valuation? Well, the point is the higher that I was able to get the valuation up and then go to the bank and justify to the bank that I know what I'm doing by giving the bank a copy of my due diligence kit, giving them a copy of my increased valuation, asking this valuer who wrote this one out for $2.6 million to submit that to the bank directly for me, because I knew that they worked with that particular bank. Then my loan to valuation ratio on getting that deal across the line without putting any money in was so much easier. So for every portion of extra money that I could get back from the bank out of the deal and put no money in the deal, made it an even better deal for me, because it's infinite return. As it turned out, it was infinite return on that particular project. So all the money I made out of that, which we made $1.6 million in a year, we made without having to, no, we didn't make $1.6 million, sorry, that's a combination of some projects. This one was $950, we ended up selling for $3, so $950 plus some costs and things. So yeah, realistically, I suppose once you took out some duties and costs, yeah, it would have been around about 1.6. So what that meant was that I was able to leverage the bank for what I wanted, which was so important. So I wanted to get that point across to you as to everyone as to what you need to do. And I did all of this work. So the kits that you're seeing here, the information that I'm sharing with you right now, is information that I had to put together anyway to justify to myself that that area worked, that what I was going to buy worked, that the square meterage, everything about that project, the location, the demand for it, the rental that I was going to get for it, what was the future sale benefits of that, what was happening in the area from a council point of view, what were they doing as far as development in that area, how much money were they ploughing into it, you know, all of those things I just put together, and they just become a big tick, 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 tick as you go through. So can you imagine that when you've done that and you understand that, how easy it is when a person rings you up and says, listen, I need to sell this property for $900. Well, they actually said they wanted to sell it for $900,000, and then they came back and said, listen, I've got an offer of $925 on the table, but I've been dealing with you before that. I'd like to see, you know, if you can just give me what your best offer is. And I instantly said on the phone, I'll give you $950 right now. $25,000 more is what I paid for him. Did I want to go up $5,000? No, I didn't want to go up $5,000. I said to him, I'll give you $950,000 if you send me the contract this afternoon, and I'll sign the contract. Did I want to sign an option on it? No, I didn't want to sign an option on it. The reason I didn't want to sign an option was because this particular client needed to get the property sold. They needed it sold for some family reasons, so some private reasons. So because of that, I was able to put that contract in place instantly, because I already had the evidence to know that that deal was going to work. I'd seen the property before, had done nothing about it, wasn't ready to do that deal. Then it came back around. I saw it again, and it was available. Wasn't on the market, so it was bought off market, and bought it directly from the owner. The owner happened to be a solicitor as well, so you know, you can buy some great property from people that you would consider have a far better understanding of what the value of it would be, but they don't really, and I've got more examples of that I'll share with you. But the point being is, that's a project folder for that deal. You can see how thick that is. That's another one for that same deal. That's another one for the same deal, not as thick, this one, okay, just a bit of an overrun. In every single case, it covers every bit of information that's required for that project, and I keep that project information always so that I can revert back to it to understand what it is that I was thinking at that time. Look, that's all I've got on this part. Look, that was quite long, I know, but I really wanted you to understand that. I'm just going to touch on another video in a minute. I'm just going to show you what you can do then when you understand these principles and step up the game to a whole new level. So thanks again. Talk to you on the next video. Bye for now.